Look alive, fellas. We are live. LFXmedia.live. Facebook, how you doing out there? YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. We in the building. It's LFX Media, the podcast. Sports talk. We're going to talk heavy about the sports. The title, as you can see, is Wick and Sports World Talk. How you guys feeling today?
Solid, blessed, new work week. Ready to
You
put
already
some
know
work
cooking
in.
and booking, man. What's going on now?
Yes, sir. I am your host, Podgy Carter. We here with Antho the Great, the Custom Beat King. We're going to give it to you in the sports world. It's March Madness. It's NBA heat up. It's combine talk. Talk heavy, brothers. What's going on?
Oh, brother,
Well,
sure.
we got to just, I don't know what subject you want to start with first, but Ant, you tell me,
Nah,
man. You tell me
Oh,
what.
I mean, we could lightly touch on the game from last night that we all got to see while it's on our mind, and then we can go and probably touch on some standouts at the combine from this weekend as well.
for
All
sure.
right.
First game I want to touch on is, did you see my boys in LA get the dub with no Bron and no Russ? What
Yeah,
y'all feel about that? Now they in like a three-way tie right now.
Sunday night, they definitely did their thing. They held it down.
Yes, indeed.
They
Yes,
held
indeed.
it down. They literally showed that they can be more than one dimensional, if
Right,
you will.
right.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see who the Lakers actually do have on their team, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because that's putting the league on notice that
Mm-hmm.
um, even though they may not have got it together early in the season, the things you can see the culture around there starting to change towards a more
Right.
positive culture because they're buying into the system, and that's something that a lot of people don't know much about is buying into a system, like really taking some time out and really saying the only reason why people win in sports and things they buy into what the program is presenting them. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? We can apply that to other aspects of life. I think that'll get us a little bit further down the road, man. But yeah, that was a fantastic win by the Lakers, and I expect them to finish strong.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I had spoke on that before, like even with the clip, not the Brooklyn Nets situation, when they had just Kyrie, KD, and the role players that they had in place before they traded for Harden. It was the same point that I was making there that I think you kind of see coming to fruition with the Lakers. It's not about the names. When you talk about basketball, you have to see, if you have your stars, you have to have complementary pieces that fit into their role, and as you said, Pat, buy into the role that they are in. And what you see now is the big name of Russ is gone, but you replace it with Vanderbilt, Russ, the new Russell.
another
Is it?
Russ.
Yeah. and the way that they play, Russ is not trying to D Russ is not trying to come and blow past you like a Westbrook. He's more of a methodical, get into the offense, find where you're going, find where everybody's going. And what I always point out is, when you talk about cutting down turnovers, right?
Yeah,
Every turnover that turns into a transition bucket used to be taking away at least 2 to 3 points from your team and giving 2 to 3 points to the other team. So what folks don't realize is one turnover can result in a 4 to 6 point swing. Now take that into account when you think about Russell uh having the issue of Russell Westbrook, that is, having the issue of 6 and 7 turnovers in just one half.
Mhm.
Now take that same math and do it and see what, when you think about how close some of those games were, the Lakers were losing when they had him in. Uh, and you take that same basic math, a layup or a three is 2 to 3 points for them, and you not getting a shot up is taking away 2 to 3 points from you. That's
yeah, I
four
feel you on that.
swing
Mhm.
times what, 7, 8 times sometime. So like when you take
Yeah,
that into account, and then you take away, you think about how close some of those games were, and now you look at it, they're winning close games. They're walking away late, and it's because of execution and effort plays. Vanderbilt not turning it over, but causing turnovers.
They're
And
beginning to feed Davis again, and you can
exactly
see Davis is
effectively.
responding to that. You know what I mean? Now, do I still think he has some fragile issues to work through? Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
But you
no doubt.
know, some athletes choose to play themselves into game shape as the season progresses, as we very well know. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? But all that math equates to chemistry to me, bro. Like that just
Mm-hmm.
means that the chemistry that existed on the team before just wasn't putting the product on the floor that they needed. So now they have a team chemistry and camaraderie, and you can see it. You can see how they're behaving. You can see it's a young group of guys that are really fired up about playing basketball, even though they do have a few injuries that could end up taking them out of the playoffs. I still think that they might make the playoffs, man. The way that if they keep playing like this, they're gonna make it.
And like I say, I picked them to make the playoffs because of the points we pointed out. The this team isn't the Lakers team that started the season. These trades were quality trades because of fit. When you get the effort that you get now, AD playing how AD plays is going to be a caveat. If you're down, they're already down 2 starters though, and they've won twice. With
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like,
And
look,
they beat a Golden
they're
State
down their
team.
best 2 facilitators at that. The 2 best
I mean, that was Golden State they
facilitators.
beat. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
come
saying? That
on.
was Golden
Like, we're
State.
not talking about scrubs. You know what I mean?
They,
So
they they just won the title last year. Am I not mistaken?
yes, sir. And Steph was
They
coming
won the
back
title.
his first
So
game back, but Steph had a time. Steph was putting up numbers. So
yeah, oh, he caught that magic again in the fourth quarter. Everybody saw it.
right.
Everybody seen that. If you were a vision, you saw that. You know what I
Right.
mean? He still has the potential to take over any game. But
Mm-hmm.
it showed character with the young Lakers team that they were able to withstand that run, because normally that's the type of run that may take you out the game.
Yes, sir.
We've seen it how many times? We've seen it so many times that we can safely say that when Steph turned it on, you might as well just, in most cases, pack it in. So that
Cause
shows a lot of grit, shows character, but it also shows what I said before, which is chemistry, man. Chemistry.
Mhm.
indeed, indeed.
Just to piggyback off of what Anthem was saying about bringing in players that are role players, switching one Russ for the other, the dimensions that the new Russ presented, like you said, those turnovers, 6 turnovers could amount to 15 points lost. The dimensions that the new Russ added, and might I say, the weight of everything that falls on LeBron's shoulders all the time. People are saying he's the coach, he bring players in, this, that, and the other. LeBron, at this point in his career, he's a role player, but when I think of role play and the effects that one player has on a team, I look at Jerry West, one of the guys who put together Showtime. You know what I'm saying? He was, him and Bus, they put together Showtime. And looking at the layers it takes, you need good management, you need good coaching. So all the things that they're putting on LeBron's shoulders, it's not fair because it takes a whole system. And the Lakers system as a corporation, Laker Nation is a corporation. It goes
Mm-hmm.
all the way to the top. And you can't blame LeBron for everything that goes wrong. And you can't give him credit for everything that goes right.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
moves that the Lakers made at this point, they are right at the edge of the play-ins, and they refuse to lose. And that was a good presentation. It took me
Mm-hmm.
back to NBA action when I was a kid. All day long we had NBA action, and it was great from start to finish.
Yep. Yep.
Are we seeing a separation, guys? I'm starting to see a separation from the teams that are really going to vie for the championship, and
Uh-huh.
the other teams that, well, maybe it's not your year. You know what I mean? Because you can start to see the teams that are up there. They're starting to really separate themselves, except for our next game that we should probably talk about, which is the Dallas game yesterday.
Yes,
The
sir.
Dallas game yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the Dallas fans, but you know, to miss a bunny like that and be so consistent with other, baskets, if you will. Like Luka's a walking basket. We all know this.
Yeah.
It was just like a brain freeze, if you
I
will,
mean, all
at the end
four
of that game.
stars had 30
And
points.
Phoenix just had enough to, Phoenix had enough power, and they started really moving the ball efficiently in the second half, and they were getting buckets from that. And then you have two takeover guys like, it's kind of unfair, fellas, Durant and Booker, and they were
Yeah.
the huge factor yesterday. They were definitely the factor of the game, and
if
nobody
I'm not
had an answer for
all
them.
four all stars, both teams superstars that played in Kevin Durant and Booker and Kyrie and Luka all dropped 30. Everyone had 30.
Yeah, it was a show.
Yeah.
So it was almost a superstar cancellation on those two teams.
I think so, because they have one or two more pieces that really sting and bite. And
And
no
that's
matter what
when
the record is right now, I have to put them as a favorite going into the playoffs, because you can't ignore what you're seeing. They're playing against elite competition and withstanding and withholding now, as opposed to earlier in the season when the chemistry wasn't there, and you could see it. You can see the chemistry wasn't there. Ayton was getting his, and his stock is rising. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not, but Ayton, his stock is rising, even though he may not have been a big factor in the full game yesterday. He was a factor at the end, and he hit some key. He hit a key shot or two, and people mistake him for not being a rebounder, and he's one of the top rebounders in the league. You know what I'm saying? So this is a double guy that's starting to increase points. He's starting to increase points, and he's starting to also keep the level of all-star caliber rebounding, shot blocking, being a big presence, like a regular traditional big man. Like you don't see him go much further outside of the paint, right? Most of his buckets are coming either from the foul line or in. And so, he's mastered that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he may not be the super muscular guy, but he definitely does control the paint when he's in there, and he's a factor. And last night he was a factor too. He had a couple of key moments in that game at the end. Key rebounds, a key putback was definitely key. And that kind of like did it.
I think a bigger problem that was broached yesterday for both of those teams, in my opinion, is the fact that neither one of them could stop a nosebleed. Like we
noticed that about the defense in the NBA, man. What you think about that?
Like I feel like that's what's going to always separate the true championship contenders from your razzle dazzles. You know what I mean? They're gonna come give you a lot of good razzle dazzle, but when it comes down to plotting and scheming to win 4 games before you win 4 games, it's gonna be me seeing what you do best and using my superior defenders to prevent you from being able to do that. And when that happens, what do you have to counteract it? Can you prevent us from doing what we do best? No.
Exactly.
Can we prevent you? Yes. And that's why teams like Boston are still favorites. Teams like Milwaukee are still favorites because they can
that separation.
Which they can say, hey, yeah, you can score. We can all score. But when it's time to really play ball, we can also turn on a defensive switch and take you out of your game for a quarter or two. And then boom.
Speaking of Boston, man, listen, man, we got to cover that Knicks Boston game yesterday too.
Yeah, so Knicks for coming back
because that was the game of the day. For anybody that did not see the Knicks versus the Celtics yesterday, you missed one hell of a game. It went to 2 overtimes. Went to 2 straight overtimes, and neither team could really get the edge until the very, very end. It was just the play of Emmanuel, what's his name? The point guard, young kid.
For the Celtics?
For the Knicks. No, Emmanuel. Quigley had a career day, but here's the stat. Here's the stat.
He dropped 30.
And y'all gotta pay attention to this part of it. He played a total yesterday of 55 minutes and set an NBA record for that.
Yeah.
The amount of minutes played in a game. Like he was a motor.
Yeah. For
Like,
those of you who don't know, it's 12-minute quarters. 48 minutes should be the max that you play, unless you go over. Just a
I
little
mean, that
thing.
literally means he did not come off of the floor.
He just was
It could be
balling.
safe to say that he didn't come off the floor yesterday, because if I went back and my memory served me correctly of the game yesterday, if he did, he came out for like a brief 30 seconds and it went right back in the game.
Yeah,
If
was
he came
balling.
out at all, and I don't believe he did.
Nah, he went all out, and he was in attack mode. And
Oh,
at times, I was looking at him like, "Calm down, young man. Stay focused." But he had that zeal and that spirit. That look, I'm out here stomping with the big dogs.
Yeah.
Dropped 38 on him and was slicing to the hole, doing running across the lane, teardrops, and playing D. And actually, did you see that defensive play when him and I think it was Smart got tangled up and they was trying to figure out who knocked the ball out of bounds? Quickly was saying, "I was there. Coach reviewed that," and they passed on that, which could have been crucial to the game. I thought.
yeah. He elected to allow the defense to win and earn this win, which is really going to point to my next point. We got a 9-game streak going on over there in New York.
Oh yeah.
And I've been watching, being on the stat side of things and following some of the numbers. 9 wins in this part of the season is infectious. And you can see, because normally Boston would blow a team like the Knicks out. And we can be transparent about that, because we know that they probably would, on a regular and consistent basis, possibly, until now. It's funny how winning actually becomes infectious.
Right.
Funny how winning becomes infectious, because at this moment in time, you can see that the culture is shifting in certain teams. And the Knicks is one of them. The Knicks is one of them. I love Miami. You know what I'm saying? Miami is my team, but I can see that we're just lacking the players that some of the other teams have, as far as being high basketball, high basketball, multitasking. You know what I'm saying? These guys can take over a game at any time. Quigley came out of nowhere, took over yesterday. Randall's been taking over, and he's starting to show his value to the Knicks again, as opposed to where he was having a little, at one point, I think he was having a little turmoil with New York.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't know if he was really going to last in there. But we find out that he is going to last.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting to realize he's starting to take a leadership role on that team. And he's carrying the load right now, man. And he's doing well carrying the load, because they beat some good teams, including my Miami Heat. They beat them as well on a last second shot. But nonetheless, that just shows the competitive desire when you begin to win. As soon as you start putting together 4 or 5 games, the team morale is going to be so high that everybody's going to feel that way.
Do you feel that they're like really in position to win, or are they like maybe a piece or two away? Because I feel like maybe
you never know.
Like they on a good win streak, I feel like they may be one solid additional piece, maybe one standout talent away still.
Yeah, possibly, yeah, because I think that the rotation eventually is going to meet a tough challenge. And I've seen that they were able to hold it down for a majority of the game, but they also let Boston back in that game, because if you remember correctly, they had a super control over the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were up when Randall, and they sat Randall down for a little while. I think they sat him a little too long. They waited until like maybe 6 minutes or so to put him in the game again. And they let him sit.
The Celtics up by like 28 though at one point
in the second.
And then the Knicks, but the Knicks ended up taking over and building a comfortable enough lead to the point where early in the fourth quarter, they reversed the game. They took the lead at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Then they started to, break away a little bit. You know what I mean? And everything was cool. And Randall was on the bench. Now, in that moment, the bench, took care of business. But eventually the Celtics were the Celtics, and they started getting that little magic back in they stride, and they erased that deficit. And matter of fact, they took the lead for a brief minute.
Yeah.
Am I correct? I think they took the lead for a brief minute in that fourth quarter, and
Yeah,
New York just
7 lead
was able to weather the
changes.
storm.
Yeah, it was definitely 7 lead changes. I
Mhm.
shout out to Randall and Barrett just coming in sync to make that stretch for 8, 9 games. In which watching Randall play, he plays a lot of bully ball, and if you pay attention to uh referees, you guys see the referee special when the referee that got in trouble and he was explaining how they had meetings ahead of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. About what was
Randall
Yeah,
was
going
one of
on.
those guys, all he had to do was touch the ref. Up, Tech, you out of here. You know what I mean? Or, here's a flagrant, whatever. But that can get down when the chips are down. That can get Randall in trouble when it comes to playoff time and all of that. Because you don't have to kiss up to the refs, but you don't want to be that player that they discuss before the game. If he does one thing AI-ish, you know how they used to do AI. Oh, he's palming.
Oh
We
yeah.
getting. So you have to keep that in mind. Your it's a chess game, so you can't come out with the bully ball and expect the refs to be on your side and win the game, win a series. So yeah, they may be one player away from that. Let's look at them for a real run, but they're playing good ball, and anything can happen in the NBA. So I'm here for it.
right. Because you never know. One of the top seeds could get a major injury. I see these guys are really starting to bang into each other a little bit now. So
Mhm.
it's like, you got to keep an eye on that part of it too. Are injuries going to play a factor down the road? Absolutely, they are. And if New York tends to keep the bully ball and play healthy, I think they could probably shock one of those expected to beat the Knicks teams. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
yesterday's win was a defining moment too for Quigley. You know what I mean? Quigley really kind of like he took the bull by the horns. He took the bull by the horns, and he really took the team under his wing, and he showed some maturity for being a third-year player. You know
No
what I
doubt.
mean? So
You
for
gotta
him being
love
a
when
third,
you see the young pieces coming to play and making the difference like that. You gotta love that as an organization, man. That's what you want.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, without question, man, without question. And I think that there's a couple of teams right now that are starting to jockey, and they may not be at the top of the pack, but they're starting to jockey a little bit, and it's getting interesting, especially in the Eastern Conference. You know what I'm saying? Like now, the Western Conference still is interesting as well, but I think it's because you have a small market team like Denver. You know what I'm saying? That's in the top spot in the West, and people don't really check for Denver like that. And actually, I think that's a mistake because um, they're not a sleeper team no more. They're games and games ahead right now. I think they're just a lock pretty much at this moment in time with this many games left. They're pretty much a lock to win the West. And so, you know, I don't see anybody beating them because they battled the other day and
I saw
they were
somebody. I saw an argument they were making earlier that I wanted to ask y'all about. They were asking about the accountability that's put on American players that isn't necessarily always placed on foreign superstars. And
mm,
they brought up Nikola Jokic, of course, being Big Yoke. All right, three-time MVP, damn near. We might be looking at
a
a
three timer. Yeah.
three consecutive MVPs, which I think's only been done by some of the goats. So when we
Hmm.
talk about that, do we put the same onus on demanding that Jokic delivers a championship, or if they get put out again early in a disappointing fashion, are we still gonna be, oh, it's okay, it's just Jokic, this happened or that happened? Whereas if it
Yeah.
was one of the more American players, we on their neck.
Yeah.
How y'all
Hmm.
feel about that?
Well, Podge, you wanna give a stab at it?
Well, sure. Coming from Europe, the whole mentality, the culture is different from our culture. So they might be looked at as more barbaric, than us over here in the United States. But again, I'll go back to the organization thing. You know what I'm saying? That we mentioned about how Jerry West built basically Laker Showtime, and on the cool, he built the Warriors as well as a general manager. So us putting on Joker's shoulders that you failed, you did this and that. Now him becoming an MVP, that's a solo award. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at the whole organization, in which I believe they're on the schedule to come here. Good brother Pod is we
Yeah,
gonna see.
we looking to go do some sports coverage on them, so this will be a nice
Yeah,
little
they'll
segue.
they'll be here next week, so we'll see. And the Lakers will be here as well, so you might be looking for Good Brother Sports podcast in the mix once again. And just
Yes,
to shout,
indeed.
yeah, just to shout out what we got going on. It's a lot of things brewing up. So Facebook, follow, share, subscribe, comment. We're looking for comments now. People are watching, but nobody's really commenting. But we'll talk heavy because we the content kings, right, fellas?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that it's different standards. If you want to go back to Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges, it's different strokes for different folks. So you come here as an international player, you're gonna get looked at differently. I saw uh Luca yesterday, him and Booker face to face. I like that. You know what I mean? Over in Europe, you would see things like that, and it might come to a brawl and some blood. But over here, you can't touch nobody. You can't speak to someone in a certain they're be careful because the LGBT, it's different. So that's why I say culturally we look at these stars that come from international places different than we look at the stars here today, which definitely I think that's a good segue into part of our topic here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think I'm gonna squeeze in one little quick thought on that.
hey, go ahead,
Go
go
Uh,
ahead.
ahead.
as far as yep. It's all good, man.
Mhm,
As far as the treatment thing,
mhm,
you know what I'm saying? That is something that if you don't see that it's happening now, I don't know what you're looking at. You know what I mean? Like you literally have to start really getting past the surface ain't as difficult as it seems, y'all. It's not
mhm,
as difficult as it seems. And when you start looking past the surface and some of these things that we're looking at and dynamics, you know what I'm saying? You can clearly see that there's a discrepancy going on there. And treatment is treatment. You know what I mean? And you wonder why. And it kind of like also makes you look at how they look at us in the media. You know what I
mhm,
mean? If we're going to be transparent about it, you know what I mean? How we're being looked at in the media is definitely a discrepancy, and it's not the same playing field. No matter how much we want to sugarcoat it or slice the pie, we have to realize that it's not going to ever be fair. It's going to be more focused on us on the negative side of things than it's going to be on the positive. So therefore, the people coming in from those other countries, they're not going to catch that because they already know what kind of system they're used to playing ball in,
mhm.
and they don't go by those rules, they don't go by those things, and they don't go by those codes. So you're going to find that the discrepancy is going to be there no matter how you slice the pie. But yeah,
Well,
we can
I
get into
think,
the topic for the day, though. I'm ready, man.
yeah,
I'm ready.
yeah,
let's
yeah. And then
let's
just
talk
to
about
touch one more thing on that, bro. I think it goes back to what we spoke on before as well. The reason that it is covered so much is because that's what we entertain. We
Mhm,
have to gauge what it is that we entertain. In America, that's what
mhm,
sells, that's what entertains. But when you go to these other countries, they don't thrive in toxicity the way that the American media, American entertainment, America's social media, those things are toxic, and that's what sells. That's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the views, the likes, the retweets. And
mhm,
it's not just one person. It's just the kind of the Americanized way to be toxic and to sell it and to thrive in toxicity. So when when you become famous, the media doesn't change because you're famous. You feel me? Now you're famous. Okay, so what you were doing, Ja Morant could have did that video and it wouldn't have got no kind of real reaction if he wasn't Ja Morant, right? Oh, he put up a gun in a video. I got 30 homies that did this in the videos before. It's never made it to no social media. It's never made it past social media. But they're not Ja Morant. The only difference is we just shine light on the toxicity when it's somebody that's a bigger name. When in all actuality, the true issue, the true problem is what we are stimulated and what we watch and what we're entertained by. That's really the true issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely the habit that we have. And at
Absolutely.
some point in time, we have to recognize it as such. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? If you don't think that's a habit, then you probably want to reevaluate a few things because it is.
No doubt.
Yeah, and just have clarity. Some people don't really even know because we were watching sports yesterday. I mean, we was watching the NBA all day yesterday, and my dad, who is a Hall of Fame college player, he was like, "What happened?" Because they just showed a flash of him apologizing, and my dad was like, "What happened?" He had no idea. So, give us a rundown of what exactly happened. I'll let Antho take that one.
Oh, with Ja.
Yeah.
So from what I've read is basically a report that came out that says Ja was, I forget, man, where did they say he was at? He was
I think he was on IG.
IG with the video of the gun. So he was looking like he was just at a party, turned up, having a good time, rapping into the video, and then he flashed a little gun, a little handgun in the camera, like hood cats might do in the video type shit,
Mm-hmm.
flash a gun in the camera real quick type, and then but that video follows up a report about him beating up a 17-year-old in as well, that
Mm-hmm.
like was in a store or somebody I guess said something crazy, a clerk or something like that, and the dude said that Ja hit him off, I forget how many times, but so many words, Ja beat him up is what the dude said.
Almost 20.
Yeah. And that was like 2 years ago. I think the dude was like 17. So yeah, so yeah, he been beat. So report
Is
is
that
he
John
been
Moran or
beaten up
John
for.
Wick?
Oh, and then that's also the back door. Another situation when he was at a game, and it was reports that somebody had from a car that he was in,
Mm-hmm.
a all blacked out vehicle. They had a beam, a beam light come from the car that was aimed at one of the people that they had an argument with them on the sideline during the game. And
Right.
after the game, somebody in the car had a beam that was faced that was on the body of one of the people that they was arguing with. And one of the security officers around said, "I think that's a gun." And
Mm-hmm.
so there was reports of that. So you got all these 3 different reports within like the last, one of them is about 2 years old, but it's just like when you stacking all of them up, plus
Yeah.
the image that, a lot of folks feel like he trying to portray, it was just too much. It was it was just too much going on, and it just ended up all basically all the hens ended up coming home to roost, as they say, or whatever. Chickens came home to roost or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he had to go ahead and step away. It was
Well,
a 2-game suspension initially, to now indefinite suspension. We don't know when Ja is coming back. So that
Yeah.
kind of put it in perspective right there, how out of pocket he kind of been. But he did come out to his defense, he did come out recently and speak on it and say that he's basically in search of better finding himself and
Mm-hmm.
better himself. So that's what he says he's utilizing this time away from the game doing. So I'm not gonna judge the man because, like I spoke on initially, he's just young. He's young with a lot of responsibility and a lot of power at a young age. They spoke on he's already got a shoe deal. A lot of folks don't get those. He's already got a deal with Powerade. A lot of folks don't get that. He's already considered one of the faces of the league. the most exciting player to watch on in the league. Pretty much all the youngsters want to be like Ja right now. Like they want, as far as who they watching, because he can jump out the gym and he's not the super tall, super athletic cat. It's kind of like when Steph Curry came in the game and he was amazing everybody with his jump shot ability from the 6'3", 6'4" frame, slender frame cat. Ja right now is giving cats that same kind of excitement watching the shorter guy fly over the big men and put them on posters. So it's fun to see. And when you got that much responsibility, you get that much power and that much allure, and you go from everyday backyard bullshit to one of the faces of the league. It's a transition that has to be made that sometimes just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of maturity and a little bit of experience. So I'm not here to bash them at all, but definitely more of a lesson to be learned from it that sometimes when to whom much is given, much is required is one of my favorite Bible verses. And when you're given something, you got to go ahead and stand on the responsibility. Sometimes, even if you don't want to.
Go ahead, Pat.
Well,
I'll let you get your stuff off, and then I'll follow.
okay. Well, some of y'all might not like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Speak on it, Pat.
It's all of this news transpired. Let me get this right. Within the last week, if I'm not mistaken, at least within the last 7 days. Am I correct? I'm talking about the incident with him.
With the current one. The current one came in was within the last week or so. But
most of this news breaking with Ja Morant is within the last, I'd say, 14 days.
Yeah, you've heard it, within the last few days. But the reports are coming from one of them. I want to say is like last summer. So, like, you know what I mean? Like
was that ever publicized until recently? Because I didn't hear about it.
I don't know if it was made public because I don't know how public it was, but I know that the report was made last summer. They have it on file that the reports of him as far as the boy that was assaulted, that accused him of assault. That was
right.
summer.
I'm aware of that. Aware of that. I guess that's the reason why I think a lot of people may not like what I'm getting ready to say. All this Ja Morant stuff coming in this rapid amount of time, like all of a sudden out of nowhere after the All-Star break, we get a scandal going on in the NBA with Ja Morant being the focal point. Now, mind you, something's fishy to me. Something's quite fishy to me, and I can't put my finger on it. But like I said, I try to dig past the surface. And if you start digging past the surface, then you really start getting to the meat and the bones of what you're actually seeing, at least in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm seeing is that this transpired in a rapid fashion. It went from a story surfacing about him brandishing a gun on somebody. Then all of a sudden, miraculously on the sideline, they catch Ja Morant doing this. Then all of a sudden, miraculously, he's got an IG video with him dangling the gun around and all of this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the post game pull up on somebody and show that you mean business type stuff. All of this has been in succession within the last 2 weeks. I find something very fishy about that because it came out of nowhere. If this transpired last year, why are we just hearing about it now, right before the playoffs? See, this is something that I tend to look at on another level, like where what are we actually looking at here? What are we actually looking at? Are we looking at sports from an agenda? Because I do agree with Ant when he says that he should be held accountable for these things. But I'm like, boy, a mighty large amount of negative press just hit this man out of nowhere within the last 2 weeks. And you have to find that odd. You have to find that.
I would definitely agree with you more so if I felt that it was really abrupt introduction. But even if you want to go back, let's just go back to what we've known has been said throughout the year about Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies and how they kind of mucking up the game a little bit. It's been reported that he said things to the nature of you don't know what I got, you better chill out. Like you don't even know, like insinuating that it was gonna be beyond basketball. That's been said before. And then let's go back to even a couple months ago when uh he got him and his camp got Shannon Sharp out of character. Sideline of the game, where my favorite album cover of the year came from, with the Uncle Shay Shay pose with the sweater on. We all know Shannon Sharp is not the type of cat that we've ever seen that type of activity from on the sideline before. And when he came out to speak on it, he apologized for getting out of character, but he also spoke on what again has been said multiple times, which is Ja Morant's father, which has also been a problem on the sideline, sometimes egging on that same energy. And some of the Memphis Grizzlies players trying to make it more than a basketball game. For instance, Shay Sharp says that their situation was just regular sideline jargon. You can't hold Brun, you too small. You hear that all the time, right? Why do you feel like it's okay for you in that case to turn around and try to address me in the stands, not for disrespecting you, but for talking basketball jargon? That's just regular jargon that you hear at the court if you've been hooping, you've been hearing that since a youth. So you hearing that you too small, which you are. Like, it ain't like he talking about you too small for Chris Paul or something. That's LeBron James. So it's not like he pointing out something crazy. That's regular talk. It should never have resulted in you feeling the need to think that you was finna come over and charge up somebody. Then look at Shannon Sharp, bro. You didn't really want to get over there. Like, that's just, you could tell that's rah-rah. And there's been a lot of rah-rah with them all year long. And I just got, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I would agree with you if it was like only after All-Star break, boom, all of a sudden the allegations came. But again, the report from last summer was that's when that happened. The jargon as far as
I guess the point I'm getting at is that that's true, but it's just became the light to the public within the last 2 weeks.
Well, maybe certain portions, because certain portions are only a week old. Like the video, for instance.
Yeah, because you never really. We got to be. I mean, have we honestly seen at the beginning of the season that they mentioned anything about this?
Well, Ja Morant, as far as what Ja Morant,
this incident that supposedly happened last summer before the season started.
Yeah, no, like I say, I don't think that it was. I don't know if it was made public information initially, and I don't know if I would want that initially. I don't know if that's the way I would want them to play it. Like, the second we find out something went wrong, let's release it, because then you run into issues of integrity. Have you done a thorough investigation before publicizing a personal situation that maybe he did or didn't do something on? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I just thought
it was 22 too if they immediately release every bit of information that drops on them. You gotta kind of play it. That's why I say you eliminate the issues when you eliminate the ability for the issue to occur. Eliminate the ability for the issue to occur.
We're
not having the gun in your video. Like, period.
Yeah, we're not condoning any of that type of behavior whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for myself, I'm looking past the surface of even the behavior that he's exuding, because we've seen characters in the NBA over the course of time that were known as a troublemaker, as this, that, and the third, and having the wild things going on. Come on, we had Rodman as an example. We didn't have Latrell Sprewell choking the coach as an example. We didn't have all kind of different examples. They tried to make Allen Iverson out to be some type of a super thug. You know what I mean? And because of the things that happened with him off the court, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why I'm saying this is mighty fishy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA feels like it can't just be a league full of followers. It has to be somebody that's an antagonist, and they have characters. And I'm not saying that it has anything to do with his character whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? How they're trying to say, oh, well, he grew up prissy and prim and proper, but how many people we know that grew up like that and still ended up being in the street? You know what I'm saying? Like, they still be out there in the street. Some of them were in the streets more than the people that grew up in them was in them. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm saying, it's,
I can say that there's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
It's mighty fishy to me, because it's almost like how, and I'm not saying that Arian Foster was right when he was saying that professional sports is scripted, but I'm starting to believe that some of this stuff does have a dynamic and a script to it. And I may be looked at funny for saying that, But I have no question in my mind that I'm looking past the surface, and I just see that it's a cycle. It's like it's just history repeating itself.
Mhm.
It's not nothing new under the sun. The
So
NBA's
would you
had
say
bad characters.
what would you
They've had
say
bad
Ja
characters throughout the
Morant's
course of
account?
the.
Do you hold Ja Morant truly accountable for any other stuff though? If that's the view that the position
Yes,
that is
I do, but I
beyond
also
the
hold the league
surface.
responsible because if they knew about this stuff and they swept it under the rug, and they weren't being transparent from the very beginning, because I think we believe in transparency. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really important for us to push that agenda because if they're not being transparent and saying they knew about that, right? They knew about that, but they didn't say nothing about it. That's like, well, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Because it's just fishy because all of this has transpired within the last 2 weeks of the NBA season. You know, like the
But
public
it's
has
not.
become.
That's the part I think that our difference that we differentiate on the most is that for me, it's not been a collection of 2 weeks. This has kind of been the story of the Grizzlies as a team and the story of Ja off court with his dad and things that has kind of been a story the
No,
entire
that's fair.
season. So when this came out, it wasn't really to put it in perspective. When this story was released, I wasn't the least bit shocked, and it was based off of the attitude and the things that have already been said and been seen from them throughout the year. It wasn't like I was like, what? It wasn't like put it for instance, if I saw a video where Jason Tatum was toting a gun and leaning and jumping, I would have been completely like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Like that's wild. Like I would have never thought that, right? Because they
Yeah.
all have social media. I think that's one differential between a lot of the examples you gave as well. And currently, like back then, you only got the highlight of what they did on right then. I see Jason Tatum's social media, so I know what he's doing on, like, you know what I mean? I follow Jason Tatum. He's showing his son, he shows outfit. Like, that's what you see on Jason Tatum's social media mostly, right? I follow
Right.
Ja. You know what I mean? Like these, and it's different, like it's a different energy. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, that he can't be who he is or come from where he come from or have the friends that he has, but I put it in perspective. The reason
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
LeBron is one of my most impressive players is because he's also have a group of friends that he came up with, right? We also have he also came up in this era of social media being crazy and being what it is, but you've never had to go through these type of issues. And that's not to say that he is not going to be better on the other side of it. But I do feel that to whom much is given, much is required. And I would also attach to that a point of wanting them to be completely transparent. I do want that, but I also wouldn't want them to be like, oh, we just got a report 2 months ago that this happened, let us, the NBA, put this out so everybody can know what's going on without allowing just due process with the law. Like, okay, he's been accused of something. It's not my job as the league to put all of the dirty laundry of my players on Broad Street so that everybody else can just know what they're going through in their personal life. You know what I mean? That's not what the NBA, that's not my job. Is to when they're, if as long as what they're doing off the court lines up with my NBA criteria, then I will allow him to play on the NBA stage and present that to you, the customer that wants to see NBA. You let TMZ cover their personal life. Let the bloggers cover their personal life. Me, the NBA, I'm not going to do that, especially before anything has been put in stone, unless, unfortunately, you get a situation like this where he stacked it with fighting with Shannon Sharp on the sideline, being known as the talking noise. Oh yeah, ain't no competition in the West. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody in the West gonna stop me. I see the East and some players out there, but in the West, hey, now ain't nobody checking me in the West. Going out. Oh, if you want to go viral, jump with me at the rim. I'll make you go viral. Like this is what he's saying. Like, and that's cool. But when you mix it with guns and this that, you can't be the face and then mix it with extra, because now it's like you put yourself on that platform, bro. Like you can't be reserved and outgoing. Oh, I just wanted to.
Well, no, you never really could. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I was trying to get at. Your point is definitely valid and well taken. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm just digging in a different rabbit hole with it. But I'm also starting to figure out a couple of things that I'm seeing behind the scenes in the NBA that's really to me like fishy. You know what I'm saying? Like and not saying that it can't be exactly that way. I'm just saying like I'm starting to put together my own formula, and this formula is starting to point me in a direction that, like you got to look past like the actual thing that they're putting on the basketball court and look into the corporate part of this and look into the business part of this. And if the NBA is a business, right? Everybody that plays for the NBA understands the business, including John Moran. I don't care how street he is, how thug he is. He's still going to put a good representation of himself when he's standing on the basketball floor. Now, I will say this. I will say that going past the surface, if he's had these kind of issues going all the way down the road, and they knew that when they brought him into the league, that he had potential to be like this, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't really know exactly when he started like this, but I'm pretty sure them habits were not just habits that he developed as he got into the league. He
But
must have had
sometimes
them
it is, bro. Sometimes it's the money, right? Like for instance, say you were in the hood when you grew up, and you were hood, but you were humbled because you had to pay for lunch, and your parents were still gonna whoop your ass when you got home if you got acting too crazy. Then you became an uber athlete late in your life, and then like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, and all of those personas that you might have tried to keep up when you were broke, you left that. Like, so, like, I'm finna show you I'm really him. Like I told y'all, I was him. I've been him. I'm finna show. Look at me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Look
I
at the
think that's kind of
shot.
like
Yeah.
I think
Look at
that's
the
kind of
sun.
like
Look at yeah. Like that
right.
energy is
No,
different.
I
I've
think that's
seen it.
kind of like what I'm getting at, Ant. I think that's exactly what I'm getting at is that if we're looking, at it from a perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like what you said. The money did change him. And I believe that. You know what I'm saying? Probably made him a lot bolder or this, that, and the third. But
Right.
like you just said, the thought was there. The thought
Right.
was there probably way prior because you don't develop a habit in that short of amount of time like that. You know what I'm saying? Of brandishing guns and, with the super tough stuff. I'm pretty sure that was probably in him beforehand. But like you said, the money just brought it out of it. You know
Exactly.
what I
And
mean?
it's like I say,
And,
everybody think they tough when they got $1 million and a gun in their hand.
yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it makes it even the best of them will feel like, hey, you'll see those come out and apologize later. You know
That
what?
just
I
makes
got
it
drunk,
strange to
man.
me,
I
man.
had a
Like,
lot of money. I had too much. I was drunk, and I just
yeah.
got out of character. When in all
Yeah,
actuality,
but that's
I
what
could have
makes it
been drunk
strange
in
to
every
me.
situation we're talking about. He could have been
Right,
drunk
right,
at the club. He could have been drunk in
right.
the video. He could have been, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of was feeling good with his homeboys who might have
Mm-hmm.
had that energy. If you come up around that energy, you feel what I'm saying? You might just be in the mix with
Just
your boys, like, hey, we lit.
yeah.
And that's just
Yeah, no, you're
maturity over
absolutely right,
time,
man.
you
I
know?
just think that it's just strange to me, man. It's not going to sit right in my soul, and I guess I'll just have to just end my part off on that stance because it's like if this was all known about this gentleman, if we knew that this guy had a potential to have a character like this when he came into the league, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, he wasn't showing flashes of this overnight. And I can guarantee you that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's probably been showing flashes of this over the course of time. How long we don't even really know. How short we don't know. Right? Absolutely. And so it's just not going to sit right with me. And I think that there's something else that's just going on with some of these professional sports. And we'll just have to dive into it. You know what I'm saying? As we go along, man.
No
For
doubt.
sure. Before we get into anything else, I just want to recognize some of the comments that we got a guy who joined last week through YouTube, and he was over in Europe. But first, we're going to get to Haji, who's one of our newest followers. He said, "What's up, OG? Watching from Thailand. Try to understand your topic today because I am a fan of the NBA,
No
of
doubt,
the
Haji.
NBA
What's going
player.
on?
NBA player. Now, I want to ask him, is he saying he's a fan of the NBA player that we're talking about or NBA players in general?
I think he's talking about the league, but that's just what I
Okay.
caught from that.
Yeah, so if
Either
you're still
way.
there, Haji, let us know if you're saying you're a fan of the NBA player we're talking about, or oh, he's a fan of Ja. Thanks for clearing that up, Mr. New York Knicks. Yes,
Since
sir.
Brasher,
The fourth wheel,
Yeah,
Jay
go
Rash.
down, Raz.
He said he's a fan of Ja. So thanks for coming out, Haji, and following. Share this video. You've already commented, but you're over in Thailand, so we want to spread the information over on that side.
Yeah, I'm trying to come to Thailand. I'm trying to take baby to Phuket. So holla at me, Haji. I might need to ask you some questions.
And he has a question for us.
What you got,
that-
Haji?
I have a
I
question
see it.
that's true or sarcasm. Jordan, his father, take Mafia to lose the champion game.
Is that when you mean the years that he was out the league, when he had to go ahead and get up out the league them 2 years?
Yeah, that's well, Haji, let me answer that for you, Haji. That's what you call conspiracy theorist jargon.
Not to say it couldn't be true, Haji.
But definitely sarcasm.
Yeah, definitely sarcasm. Yeah, but I just wanted to, before we leave the actual job situation, something that you mentioned. You say social media, putting it in public, having a publicist as a superstar with a social media presence. You have to have a publicist, and you can't just get on social media saying what you want. You have to meet. Like,
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
No, that's what they're saying. Can I say this?
Okay, right. So
can I not say
this? Right. So having a publicist, being aware of what's going on. Like my posts are scheduled. You know what I mean? It's me, the person that's doing it, but it's a game plan. It's not just, you might say things randomly, but like you said, Pat, how does this sound legally? I mean, he could be a person who has a license to carry. So who knows, like you said, Pat, how far
I would have to imagine he does.
Yes, that how far they're trying to blow this thing up. They've been drug testing him all year because he's jumping out the gym.
Dame got drug tested the other day, did he not?
After dropping 71 on the Rockets head?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anytime you do some Herculean stuff, I bet you what's his name quickly got drug tested last night.
Right. So we have a comment from our guy from Europe. Can you see that, Pat?
Oh yeah, Drazen Petrovic,
Mm-hmm.
Vladi Divac, Luda Divac, Tony Kukoc. I recommend you see the movie Once Upon a Time. Brothers Yugoslavia won the championship, then everyone quarreled because of the war in Balkans.
Oh yeah, it's always a political twist,
And that's another thing that I was digging around. Now, I'm not saying that my theory is the theory to follow. I'm just saying it's striking me in a fashion. I've been watching sports for such a long time that it's like almost kind of like, what are we really seeing here? Like there's something else really driving these issues that we're seeing prevalent in today's society. And since we all gravitate to the pro ranks and professional musicians and you know what I mean, and things of that nature, they're a heavy influence on how our people talk and how our people, what we're discussing, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Because those people look like us. You know what I'm saying? So it just seems definitely quite interesting to me that a lot of these things are going on. And who's to say, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, yes, Ja Morant got the suspension and he got himself penalized in a fashion that he obviously deserved. We just got to see exactly what's really, really shaking and baking.
Y'all see Raz talk about they got busy last night?
They did.
Yeah. The Knicks did get busy, man.
We
The
can
Knicks
talk
been
about
getting
y'all.
busy for the last 9 games,
I guess we
boss.
could discuss the Knicks, man. I guess for Raz, we could discuss the Knicks, man.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
revisit the Knicks because he missed a
yeah,
whole
yeah,
discussion on the Knicks earlier.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
docking you. We docking you for not being here. First of all, on your ninth victory, being docked. But yeah, we'll talk about the Knicks. Uh, did they get rid of Spike Lee? Just checking.
No, man, they gotta keep Spike Lee till they get a dub, man. They gotta get a dub with Spike.
It won't happen. Not with him
He said it won't
in the
happen.
presence.
You think
No, but
he a black cat, bro?
uh,
A black cat with a courtside seat, bro.
yeah, and the flamboyant suits is a distraction.
Damn.
All of
Oh
them
man, you
colors.
talking about Clyde and them? Oh man, but no, the Knicks have done their thing. They've won 9 games in a row, man. What else can we
Yeah,
possibly say? It's nine. It's a
Salute.
9-game winning streak late in the
Salute,
season,
salute.
and hopefully they can carry that momentum over into the playoffs and disrupt some things when they get there. That's my take on it.
Oh
the
yeah,
East is
salute.
back. The East is back,
The
guys.
East is definitely back, and it's must-watch basketball.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the Celtics. You got to watch out for the Sixers. You definitely got to watch out for the Knicks. I mean, my projection is the champ.
Uh-oh.
What you projecting, P? Championship what now? I heard where you was going with it.
Yeah, yeah. You guys want me to put some people in the building? All right. I'm gonna say Denver and Boston in the
Oh,
champ.
you think Denver gonna break through this year?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Hey,
think so. I think Denver's going to be there, but I actually think it's going to be somebody that you won't think is going to be there. You know what I mean? You know how I am. I'm
In the
Mr.
West.
Jacksonville Jaguar, bite you in Achilles. So I got to go with a dark horse, and my dark horse this year, as just right now, is I think Phoenix is going to slide past Denver. They just got too much firepower, and they're just going to gel over the next 16 games, and it's going to be bad for everybody else. And so, you know what I mean? So Phoenix is a lock for me on the West. And on the East, I think it's going to be a dark horse team, maybe the 4 or the 5 seed that really makes some noise and knocks one of the big 3 out.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
I'm gonna go with the guys in LA as my dark horse. Of course, it's the Lakers. Bron getting healthy, AD getting healthy. The pieces starting to gel. They on the win streak of their own. It ain't completely unblemished, but it's definitely impressive. I do pick the Phoenix Suns to actually find a way to win it all out the West. But I do
CP
put
gets his first ring.
yeah, I think Phoenix will come out the West, and then Boston will meet them in the championship. And I hope my boy Tate Dog win, but I wouldn't be mad at Phoenix.
Yeah. Yep. It's when guys get a taste of it, as we talk about in these playoff situations, be it NBA, NFL, when you get a taste of it, then I think it kind of knocks some of the, everybody's talking about Joker, and as an individual, it's due time that he takes his team into championship conversation. You know, that's why I said the Nuggets. But same goes for the Celtics. As a young guy, what is Tatum, 24?
Just turned 25 the other night.
Just turned 25. Okay, now he came into the league getting a nice taste of not too far from getting a ring, you know.
All the way to the conference championship.
Yes, sir. So
I mean to
therefore,
the conference finals.
yeah,
He's due for one.
they made it and got it. He got a taste of it, and I think he has the elements defensively as a team. They got a decent bench, and they got a good thing going on. I'll give the I might have to backtrack on the West. Might backtrack on the West. Now that I think about it, I'm looking at the performance. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lakers there. I wouldn't.
That's
But
what I think. That's my dark horse. The Lakers is my dark horse.
yeah,
Yeah,
Phoenix is
yeah.
my.
The way that,
I got Phoenix favorite of the West. Lakers is the dark horse. Favorite in Boston on the East, and my dark horse is the 76ers. Those
yeah,
are my four.
I'm standing on the Celtics winning it all. But
Yeah, and I got my boys Boston taking it this year. Malcolm
West,
Brogdon was a major pickup. Boys got to understand that's all they were missing last year to me to be a complete team was a true facilitator, a true point guard, somebody that can come in and do that. Him doing what he been doing off the bench. Come on, man. Malcolm
I
Brogdon.
don't
That's
think Boston's going to make it to the finals.
yeah.
I just don't think. I just don't think they will. And I rely upon the fact that yes, they have a great nucleus. They have an outstanding nucleus of basketball players, but you still got to worry about the Bucks, and you still got to worry about the Sixers, of course. But I think it's somebody that's under them, like the Knicks or one of the other teams that's going to actually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's going to screw everything up. And I'm sorry, but it's not going to be Boston. It's either going to be one of the top three, but maybe I don't think it's going to be Boston.
So are you saying underdogs on the East and West end of it?
Yeah, is there an underdog in the West? In my opinion, no.
Okay.
There is no underdog. The underdog is the Nuggets. Um, and it's Phoenix really that even if they come in at a lower seed, they're gonna play well enough to be there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, LA, Boston, Philly.
Sounds like a good one to me.
And I think the reason that I for sure think it'll be Boston in the conference finals, because you say you don't believe they're going to make it to the conference finals, right? Or
No,
make
no,
it
no. I don't believe they're going to make it out.
out
I
of
don't
the
know if they'll
conference.
make the conference finals or not. I just know it's not going to be Boston representing the East in the finals.
Okay. And I think it's going to be Boston and Milwaukee again for the actual conference finals. And I feel like Boston's going to win.
I look at that. I look at that Herculean move, the 20-some odd game winning streak by the Bucks. They to me are the front runners of the East. Regardless of where their seating is, they're going to be the front runners of the East. They went on a ridiculous run, and I think that they're going to carry that momentum over. And I think they're just going to probably coast over the next week or so, let Giannis get healthy, and they're going to punish because I don't think that the Celtics, as great a defense they play, they don't have a defense that can stop all them, and they got a lot of their pieces back. And Holiday's playing lights out, and Tatum tends to disappear sometimes in the fourth quarter, like he did yesterday. And the Knicks came back, and they definitely did what they needed to do. Like he had a chance to get that win in the first overtime, and he couldn't complete the layup. That was a factor. I've seen him do that more than once. So Boston, nah, they ain't gonna make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to piggyback off of the Giannis, he made quite a statement to KD. So to see the Bucks come out and go against the Suns, that would be something to watch. Get your popcorn ready.
That would be something tremendous to watch. Yes, if
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to that, the Suns I think got too much for Milwaukee this year.
Mm.
They're a matchup problem. Nobody's going to be able to watch KD, and that's just going to free Booker up to be wild and free. And I just think Phoenix it's their championship to lose for real now.
Okay, so you're saying they call me the Suns because I shine like one.
I'm kind of saying that, you know what I mean? I'm kind of saying that, but I also like what Ant had to say about the Lakers being a dark horse because I do think they can disrupt the West, and they could definitely ride some momentum. It's very possible.
Yeah,
Definitely.
what is it? 15 to 18 games left.
Yeah, something like
About
that.
15.
And the
They have
Lakers are already right now tied with positions 9 and 10. And 9
which
and
is all you
10
got
used
to
to
be,
be
right?
play in. All you need to do is be top 10 to make the play in.
The play. Okay.
Yeah. And then once you make the play in, if you're in the top, if you're in 7 or 8, then you just need to win one. and if you are in 9 or 10, you need to win 2. And then
Yeah, if they can take yesterday's win and get it on a streak, I think they're going to do some damage in the playoffs.
yeah, and if you look at the West currently, let me make sure I'm not lying to y'all. Because I remember earlier when I looked at it, I was like, I thought they should be close because they're number 11, I know. And they just need to be number 10 to get in.
Yeah.
And
I think they were at number 12 or 13 last I checked.
yeah, so right now, the number 11 in the West now.
Okay, number 11. Okay.
And they're tied with the Pelicans and the Jazz at 9 and 10 with 31 wins.
Yeah, it's possible that they can take that. Yep, for sure.
So
Very
if they
possible.
get anywhere, like I say, right now, basically, if they win out more games than the Pelicans and or if the Clippers continue to slide, the Mavericks only have 33 wins, so that's 3 more wins than the Lakers. You know what I mean? Well, 2 more wins than the Lakers. So it's like, and they're number 7 with 2 more wins than the Lakers.
Yeah. They're creeping to the finish line.
They're in the mix. They're definitely right there. It's all about how everybody finishes out the season.
Highly possible.
It's all about how they finish it out.
Without a
Yes,
doubt.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
indeed.
we covered a little bit of Wick. We covered a lot of the NBA, and with this being March, let's cover a little bit of March Madness. It's getting mad. It's getting mad, and the last game. Did you see that last Cougars game, Anto?
I didn't get to watch I didn't really get to watch it. I seen the highlights. I didn't get to watch it.
It was a buzzer beater, right? Was that Memphis?
Right.
Yeah. So the University of Houston Cougars still in the March for March Madness that's occurring right down here in H Town. It'll be an interesting one. I think no matter where Duke is in their standings, because of the eliteness of the coach, you always got to be on the lookout for Duke. So I'm watching out for Duke, but definitely the Cougars have had that taste a couple times where, just a couple points away from getting the title. So look out for the Cougs to win it all.
Definitely looking for, and I hate to say it because I know I'm gonna be a little biased.
You have to be, but
yeah, but it's definitely that same rationale we was just using that they've been knocking at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And when you consistently knocking at the door, it shows that you just really have a quality organization, quality team. You know what I mean? So like it's about that time to break that glass ceiling.
Yeah, we shall see. It's been
I got I'm the nemesis. I got the Pittsburgh Panthers making it to the Final Four and knocking out the Cougars.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a long.
But I think the Cougars can take it all the way to the Final Four. They got the momentum swinging in their favor right now, and playing great basketball too. And that's like you said, if you build it, they will come, and they came, and they're showing people that they're here now. You know what I mean? So shout out to the Cougars because they're definitely doing a thing. But there's another animal in that same family that wants to bite, and that's the Pitt Panther.
Bite them on the hit.
That's right. Yeah, Achilles bites. That's all we get when we deal with animals that are from the cat family. You know what I mean? We're gonna say they bite your Achilles and you lose.
Yeah.
You lose at that point.
Yeah. Speaking of losing, we'll switch from the cats to the dogs, the Hoyas, who actually that's who the Cougars lost to in the 80s in the championship. The last time we were in the championship, and the Hoyas are doing terrible under the coaching of Patrick Ewing. And
now, if I'm not mistaken, and you can check the stats, guys, but is the now defunct Patrick Ewing?
Oh, he's defunct at this point.
Yeah, devoid of funk.
Okay, because I was seeing some Hoya fans saying fire him. Shout out to my guy Mel.
Guess what? The fans spoke and the university heard.
Yeah, they heard you, Malk. They heard you, Malk. Beat him out of there.
Oh, they got him out.
Yeah, and it wasn't. They were losing by quite a bit, not just 2 and
Well,
3.
I mean that once again, chemistry. You
Mhm.
know, we've been touching on that theme since we've been on today. Chemistry, man.
Yep.
You don't bond you don't build a chemistry with the coach. It's the
Nah.
same thing. Yeah, that's part of the chemistry. Like you ain't following what the coach is saying because he's driving too hard of a bargain, and it's not the '80s and it's
Mhm.
2023. I don't know what to say. All I can tell you is that he's out of there.
Okay. Thanks for that update. He's gone. But as a coach, I had a conversation yesterday with a guy who played in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you caught that, Pat, yesterday. The live I
No, I
had
did not.
with Harrison Jones. Go back and check that out. He was talking about the lack of qualified coaches in the Erie systems up there. So go back and check out that, and not to put anybody on blast or any of that type of stuff, but uh, truth be told, you know what I'm saying? There's people in positions that like let's take Patrick for example, Patrick Ewing. You look at his performance as a player and how he led, he was the man at the Knicks, Did was he being followed by his fellow athletes? Was he a guy like Curry or LeBron or these guys who Kobe who pretty much can take the coach position onto the court and coach the team? So the qualifications that Patrick had, um, we go back and look at, how was he a leader on the court, how was he a leader in the locker room, those type of things. He played ball, but how much of a leader was he to be in a position to be a coach, as opposed to just being one of the greatest Hoyas to put him in position like, hey, he'll be a good coach, and didn't turn out so well.
I think the university probably felt like they owed it to Patrick to give him a shot,
Yeah.
and they gave him a try, gave him a run. He did win a Big East championship last year, if I'm not mistaken. He did win the Big East, I believe, or one of those. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever conference that Georgetown is in now, I believe it's the Big East. But I believe they won. They won it. They won it, and so he got that accolade under his belt as far as being a coach. But obviously, this year the recruiting class wasn't up to standard. They didn't vibe and gel well with him, and so you see the end results. You know what I mean? That's a storied university, and they literally are in a rebuilding phase at this moment in time.
Yep, yep. So we'll hang on for that. Thanks for giving us the update. And
For sure.
who's in as the new coach?
I did not catch that. I just knew that it came down on the wire the other day that they had him and the university had agreed to.
I need all
so,
of them. I just started trying to get
so
this.
they'll give him a parting check.
I'm like, what?
Well, I'm sure that's going to be in the bank.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're here for the March Madness excitement. We're here for the last few legs of the NBA. Any other sports things you guys want to touch on the way out the door?
Well, personally, I'm good. Go ahead, Ant, do your thing.
I was just gonna point out a few of my favorite standouts from this weekend's combine, man.
Okay.
Yeah, just touch on a couple of them. Quarterback wise, I love what I saw from your guy Richardson from Florida. He was fun to watch, bro. He was fun to watch. Definitely showed that he had a cannon of an arm. He was clearly the most fun to watch throwing the deep ball. Him and your guy from him and your boy from Ohio State,
CJ.
yeah, CJ Stroud. They were definitely the standouts with the deep ball. Also, I wanted to point out my favorite wide receiver standout. Of course, we all love homie from TCU, Justin. Say his name correctly. I don't want to butcher his name. He had a nice 40. I mean, a nice vert on him. Quentin Johnston from TCU. Uh, was one of my favorite standouts, and Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. Uh, Another standout, had a great combine. Um, 40-inch vertical, um, crazy broad jump. He was first place in the broad jump with 11, with 11 and 3. Uh, so it's definitely gonna be curious to see how much. And Johnston's was good as well with 11 too. So um, gonna be real fun to see what these receivers. They got some good receiver talent coming into the combine. Good receiver draft. So I can't wait to see what some of them cats land.
Absolutely.
Running backs with specimens too, bro. So it just gonna. I can't wait, bro. It's gonna be fun to see where everybody land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and absolutely, it's an exciting time for like the change of the guards. You know, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fresh blood is coming into the league, and it's good to see. You know, as far as quarterbacks, you know, we're already talking about Patrick chasing Tom Brady's
Mm-hmm.
ring accumulation. You know, and it's actually it's a straight up topic for him to already have a two piece in such a young time in his career that
Mm-hmm.
he can get seven. I can absolutely see that happening. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's that time. A lot of these youngsters coming in. Salute to my boy B. John Robinson as well. Had a good combine, 4.40.
Okay, without a doubt.
Devon Ashley. A
And
Shane from A&M had the fastest 40 of all running backs, 4.32.
hmm and the guy that I interviewed yesterday, Harrison, my young guy, he played linebacker and he ran a 4.3, and he said,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's, you know, it's becoming like an average, you know. You said
Oh, yeah,
like
certain
these
positions for
guys
sure.
come lightning fast off the line, you know. So as a quarterback, you either got to be super intelligent or you got to move your feet just as fast as they move their feet, you know.
Yeah, you had like 7 DBs run 4.3 this year.
Mm.
The top 7 speeds, I think, in DBs were all 4.3s,
hmm
all sub 4.4s.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's speed. It's definitely some speed out there. The running backs were fast too. Like I say, 40s were crazy. Like it
Mm.
was I think maybe 3 people had sub 4.4s running back wise.
Okay.
That boy Gibbs from Alabama and Mitchell from East Carolina, also with Devon from A&M. So yeah, it was some speed out there, bro. It was fun to see. It was fun to see. Again, to talk about quarterbacks, I look at combines for quarterbacks heavily because I don't really get to see all of them all year. So when you match the numbers with mechanics, then you can kind of get a decent understanding of what you're looking at.
hmm
And
Youth all the way around the board. I mean,
yes, sir.
the Celtics coach, 34 years old, one of the youngest coaches out here. The NBA as a whole, the league is just fresh, young. The NFL, young quarterbacks coming in and doing their thing. So, you know, just shout out to all of athletics that's coming around to the youth. And speaking of the youth, the week before Final Four that we'll have down here, the McDonald's All American game will be down here in Houston
Yes,
as
sir.
well. We'll probably pop our heads in there, right? Good brother Pod.
Good brother, definitely trying to slide that way, man. I'm trying to get y'all the best of everything the city got to offer on the sports, bro. For sure, for sure.
Indeed. So we definitely man, we international today, brothers. We got Thailand, we got Europe. You guys stay in tune with us. Share it, like it, keep commenting. We appreciate you coming out all the time, you know, to be, you know, internationally known, you know. We're
So
the guys on the microphone.
microphone. Yeah,
Woo! Yeah. We the
real
content
deal.
kings, and we will continue to give you the best content, the breaking news, whatever is going down, is going to come down our pipeline, on lfxmedia.live. So check us out.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate y'all for coming out, man. As always, I love y'all for allowing us to do what we do and share it with you.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure. So you already know what it is, man. Check us out. We on all the platforms. We on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Web TV, and LFXmedia.live.
Signing off
Yes,
for myself and our missing podcaster, Jay Rastic Bingham himself. We appreciate you guys coming out. We got some things coming, we got some subscriptions and some courses. Stay tuned, coming real soon. You can come to LFX Media Live and get taught. If you're trying to learn how to trade, if you're trying to learn how to edit, if you're trying to learn how to produce beats, we have courses coming to LFX Media Live. Stay tuned. So definitely, we thank you for coming out. Facebook, YouTube, subscribe at our personal custom platform, LFX Media Live. We got to get at them today. Matter of fact, as soon as we get off, get at our tech people so we can get these courses lined up. But definitely like, subscribe, comment. We love you guys. And if you didn't know, now you know. And we will talk to you on the next show. One.